What is up, everybody? What is up? Welcome back to my channel, Isaac of the Dead. Let's get some cringe shit going with this one. All right, big news. Big news today. Just now, couple hours ago, we saw the return of CM Punk in WWE. So take a minute to inhale that idea that CM Punk has returned to WWE, right? So, yeah, I thought I'd jump on this live stream to chat about that for a little bit. Let me see if I can't fix this glare. No? The glare won't be fixed? Let's see that. Okay. All right. So, I made a video a couple months back, also with a live stream a couple months back about CM Punk leaving AEW because he was fired, right? So I felt it was necessary to jump on here today and talk about CM Punk going to WWE. So I'm going to run down the timeline for you, long story short. Hopefully, I'm going to make this as quick as possibly can, 30 minutes, to an hour tops if I can, because I don't want to be up here all night. I'm hoping that some people, it'll be short enough for people to come back and watch this again. So long story short, 2014, the year that CM Punk left WWE. He left WWE because of a lot of different, factors, one of them being creative differences for sure. But the main thing, I think, what really got CM Punk pushed out the door was the unethical treatment by the doctors there. He had a staph infection that led to him leaving the company. They had mistreated the staph infection against his wishes. I mean, that's a dangerous thing to mistreat, is a staph infection, especially in this industry, especially in pro wrestling. So he left for a very good reason. Now, me personally, CM Punk was, one of my favorites as a kid. I idolized CM Punk, growing up. I thought he was amazing. I was a huge fan of CM Punk. But over the years, I knew how he thought politically, how he acted. I knew about that, but I didn't care because I was a fan. I was willing to push all his political things aside to become a fan of his. Now, look, I know the shirt that I'm wearing. I know there's a lot of people that would see this and be like, oh, it's on site, bro. It's on site. And it's like, look, listen. The shirt, it's a joke. It's a joke. Don't take it so seriously. Certainly this top part here, but my channel, I didn't create this channel to be divisive. I didn't create this channel to isolate people, to let people out, like to be he's a MAGA YouTuber. Like, look, I got the shirt because it's fucking funny. Because it's funny. Because you see a orange man bad, especially when he's in the mugshot here, right? It's supposed to be a joke. And the fact that people can't take a joke, and I think that's kind of fucked up a little bit, right? But you at least have an idea of where my mindset is on the common sense, center right sort of area. A lot of people are going to probably jump in the comments for sure and debate that and be like, oh, he's just a MAGA crazy person. It's like, you believe whatever you want to believe. That doesn't matter. But that's going to circle around to another point later. Because I knew how CM Punk thought politically. And I didn't care because I was a fan. And I actually went into a small bit of depression after CM Punk quit WWE because he was like one of my favorite guys. And so I went into this small depression because I looked up to him, and I was like, how could this guy quit us? For a long time, I was kind of bitter. I was kind of rebellious, following that same spirit that CM Punk had when he was having his greatest run in WWE. And so naturally, whenever AEW comes around, I'm like, hell yeah, bring me CM Punk. Give me that. And he shows up in Chicago. In AEW, and I freaking loved it. I loved it. I loved hearing the crowd. I loved the chanting. I loved that CM Punk was back, even after the UFC thing. Even after the UFC thing, even after the comic books, the movies, and all that, I was still a fan of CM Punk. That was until the red flags started coming in. First red flag that I saw, when he comes to Houston, Texas, a show that I did not go to, by the way. I didn't go to the Houston show. Okay. But at that AEW Dynamite Houston show, CM Punk was feuding with Hangman Adam Page. And he comes out to the ring wearing a shirt that says, abortion is human rights, or something like that. Now, look, however you feel about abortion, that is your personal thing. That is your personal, belief, right? Just like how I have my little t-shirt here is my personal belief, just like it is CM Punk's personal belief. However, what really upset me was not the t-shirt itself. It's that he had the audacity to wear that t-shirt in Texas to piss people off, to intentionally piss people off, to intentionally divide the audience. And he has stated many times since then that if you disagree with me politically, I don't want you as a fan. Somebody like me, he would not like somebody like me because I disagree with him politically. And how am I supposed to react to that as a fan of CM Punk? Am I just going to be like, oh, well, I guess I should change my ways in order to be a fan? No, I'm going to be kind of pissed off about it. And therefore, I was a little bit bitter about it. I was like, what the hell? But at least I can still enjoy CM Punk doing his work in the ring. Then we had Brawl Out. Then we had AEW Brawl Out that summer, where he comes back from an injury and beats Jon Moxley for the world title at AEW. And then we know the infamous story that you've probably heard a million times about him and the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega and Ace Steel biting Kenny Omega and all that other bullshit that came with it. At that point, I had lost pretty much all respect for CM Punk. Was at that point. I was like, this guy is not just a raging leftist SJW. He's unprofessional. And on top of that, it's because of the unprofessionalism that led to him being freely open to be a fucking SJW on live television to divide the audience. That's what it came down to. And that's not just his fault either. That's Tony Khan's fault. That is on Tony Khan as well. Tony Khan, being a child of a leader, I'll say it. I don't care if it gets me flack or whatever, but Tony Khan, being a mark for a leader, has led to something like CM Punk's rebellion backstage, is what I would just, I guess, call it. But ultimately, the guy has been described as a cancer, as toxic, kind of a crybaby. That's what I've heard a lot of people say, and the more I hear it, the more I believe it. He sounds unprofessional as fuck. You're supposed to entertain your audience, not divide your audience. And you could be like, oh, well, Isaac, you're wearing a My President Donald Trump t-shirt. This dude was wearing abortion t-shirts. He was going out there saying this bullshit. Look, if you don't like the t-shirt, that is okay. That is okay. I understand, dude. If you don't like me wearing this, that's okay. You don't have to subscribe to my channel. I understand. But my intention of wearing the shirt was purely coincidental. I wasn't planning on live streaming today, but I guess we're here. And since I am wearing it, I'm not going to take it off for you. Sorry. I didn't wear it to divide my audience. If anything, you know more about me, just slightly. And so, yeah, after Brawl Out, I had lost so much respect for CM Punk. And I had really no incentive to want him back in the wrestling. I became apathetic. I was beyond angry at that point. I was just apathetic. I don't care about CM Punk being in AEW. I don't want him to go back to WWE. I just want him gone. I just want him off the television. If this is how he's going to act, he's going to be a fucking child, at 40 years old, however old he is, then I don't want him on my TV anymore. I don't want to watch this shit anymore, you know? And of course, Tony Khan was like, I want him back. Idiot. You know, and then Warner Brothers Discovery, of course, David Zaslav wanted him back, as they described him as one Bill Phil. You know, you could say one pink Bill Phil, sure. But David Zaslav and Warner Brothers Discovery funded an entire show, an entire 2-hour show, AEW Collision on Saturdays, for CM Punk, to isolate him from Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks, to isolate him and other superstars, other wrestlers, so that they can have their own show. They built that show for CM Punk. They gave him everything. They gave that man everything. And after they gave him everything, what did he do? He got in a fight with Jungle Boy backstage over something fucking petty. Over something petty. You know? Why get in a fight with Jungle Boy over something fucking petty like that? Which eventually led to, you know, it led to his eventual firing completely, not just suspension from Brawl Out, but the firing of CM Punk in AEW. Because Tony Khan saw this one this time. He didn't see Brawl Out. He saw, you know, this one. He saw this one, Brawl In, I think. Well, yeah, it was All In. It was Brawl In with Jack Perry, Jungle Boy. They saw that, or he saw that one, right? And he was like, oh, my life was in danger. Oh. If Tony Khan wasn't such a shit leader, this wouldn't be a problem. I think Tony Khan works as a good businessman. He can acquire things. He bought Ring of Honor. He bought all the superstars on the roster. He bought all those wrestlers. What he needs to do is hand over the booking decisions and hand over the management to somebody else. Because Tony Khan is not a good leader. You know? And that's where I'll get to in a minute, because actually Triple H actually gives me confidence to be a good leader. Tony Khan is not a good leader. I'm sorry. But Triple H is a good leader. And we will see how that's handled. Because, I mean, I think the part of the reason why CM Punk got to do what he wanted to do was because, well, Tony Khan was kind of a pushover. And he allowed these wrestlers to walk all over him. And that's what allowed CM Punk to go where he went. Triple H, on the other hand, you going to try and walk all over Triple H? I mean, the dude's a Chad. I mean, just saying. Just saying. You can't exactly walk all over Triple H. Okay? So, after they fired CM Punk, months of speculation. Survivor Series for WWE is going to be in Chicago. You know, oh, CM Punk's going to be there. And if not, the Chicago people in the crowd are going to be angry and they're going to cry about it. And they're going to be, yeah, because you know that's what's going to happen. You go anywhere else in the country and CM Punk gets half cheered, half booed. It's very biased in Chicago. And I'm being nice when I say that towards CM Punk. But I understand why. It's their boy. It's their hometown hero. You know, I totally understand that. But ultimately, it is biased. So another thing about WWE is I initially had given up on WWE a while back. I was like, I'm not. They released Bray Wyatt one time and Braun Strowman, and I think that was like my breaking point. And I was just like, I'm done. You know, I can't go back to this now. And then after they got rid of Vince McMahon, which I also thought was bullshit, but eventually, like, I couldn't see anything but good from there. Like, I was like, you know, Vince was part of the problem, but the way that they got him out was kind of unethical, and I didn't really like it. But I totally understand all the events there. I don't know. I think it was for virtue points there, you know, to get rid of him. But yeah, Vince was definitely deteriorating in creative skills. And so he was part of the problem with why I was not watching wrestling anymore. Triple H stepping in impressed me. And ever since then, I was just like, oh, okay, I started watching again, and I couldn't stop watching. Nothing insulted me so bad that I wanted to stop watching, you know? So WWE became the face, and AEW became the heel at that point, at the very crux of last year. It's been impressive to watch. It's been very impressive to watch. And then the impossible happened. We got things like, uh, you know, it was a Clash of the Castle, was a big hit. We had a lot of great things under Triple H's, sort of reign in WWE. And I can't list all the premium live events that were hits. Can't list them all. They'd go by the year, I guess, or by the month instead of the year. But I didn't think, CM Punk would ever return to WWE. I didn't think that was possible. I didn't think that was a thing that would ever happen. But after hearing that he was going to be showing up backstage at WWE shows like Monday Night Raw, I was like, they might get him back, huh? They might try it now with Triple H. They might try it. And so I'll say that whenever I saw it, I was watching it over at a friend's house. I was watching Survivor Series tonight at War Games over at a friend's house. And Randy Orton returned. That was something that put a smile on my face. I like to see Randy Orton. Randy Orton's very entertaining, to say the least. And that puts a smile on my face. But I knew the Chicago crowd was going to be crazy, as they always are, and they have every right to be. But I knew that if CM Punk didn't show up, it was going to be like, everybody's going to be mad. Oh, no CM Punk. But, he has no incentive to show up anywhere. How could you allow a guy like that into your company after his reputation in the last company that he was at? Dude got fired for brawling with people, for being a bad influence, for being toxic, cancer. And you let that back into your company. It sounds like if CM Punk was really vying to be in this company, be in WWE again, it's to get back at Tony Khan. It's to get back at AEW. It's being petty, And certainly, I think WWE might have changed in order to get CM Punk there for sure. But at the end of the day, I thought that bridge was burned. I was just shocked that WWE had the balls to bring him back. And I was like, okay, good move by them. Good move by Triple H. Now, a couple years ago, I would have been more excited to see CM Punk back in WWE, back where he left, back where he would belong in my eyes. His home, as some people would say. To be fair, I think his home would be Ring of Honor. But we all know that the reason he didn't go back to Ring of Honor or New Japan or Mexico or anywhere after he left WWE in 2014 is because they didn't pay him enough. All right? That's why he went to AEW, is because they could afford him. He could have gone anywhere else in the world. Chose to go to AEW because of the paycheck, because of the monies. And so now ain't nobody else in the world going to take him. Cost too much. You know who does have money? WWE. World Wrestling Entertainment. Yeah. They got enough money. They got enough money to afford CM Punk. I don't think he's back to entertain us. He has to prove that to someone like me. All right. I know there's a lot of CM Punk haters out there. There's a lot of CM Punk fans out there. And probably both sides would probably hate me just for wearing this old bad boy t-shirt right here. Let me check y'all out for a second. What do you hate about CM Punk? Do you hate that he's a toxic influence on the backstage locker room? Do you hate that he's a raging SJW? Do you hate that he's just, mean? What is it? I personally never hated CM Punk's character. To this day, I love CM Punk's character. The problem came when he tried to divide his audience, when he thought he was above the paying customer. That's what it comes down to. And I'm not going to feel bad about wearing this shirt if he doesn't feel bad about wearing all the bullshit that he was wearing and dividing his audience with all the shit that he was saying. How am I supposed to feel bad for this and he doesn't? He gets jobs with these big-ass corporations. He has thousands of people cheering on his name. Most likely for me, somebody's going to punch me in the face on the street, spit in my food for wearing this shirt. So what the fuck? So when you think about it for a second here, you know, as someone like me who was disinterested in CM Punk from the moment he got fired, kind of lost respect for him like completely. I was like, I don't want him anywhere, right? I want him gone. I want him to just retire. He's old. Well, seeing how Triple H in the press conference after the show responded to this, new hiring of CM Punk, I was like, well, I'm willing to be optimistic. CM Punk does not deserve someone like me, as a fan. He doesn't deserve the benefit of the doubt when it comes to, how we think he might be portrayed on screen, just because he has a big brand name, from previous years, from AEW, whatever, right? Doesn't mean that we owe him the benefit of the doubt. Doesn't make me forget the bullshit that he's done, right? It doesn't make me forget Brawl Out, Brawl In, all the fan hate. The whenever he forced AJ Styles, he was trying to force AJ Styles to apologize for something. I'll have to dig up what happened there, but I'm not going to forget 2020. All right, I know that there's a lot of wrestlers out there that are like, oh, we want you to kind of forget about what we said on Twitter during 2020. I'm not going to forget what they were doing during the pandemic. All the shit they were saying to people like Jackson Riker, Lacey Evans, for having different opinions, like what's wrong with having a different opinion? And what they said to those guys, what they were saying to the fans, what they were saying to, their audience members. Well, they got to work, by the way. They got to work still. They were on TV every single week. They got to wrestle. They got to get paid. They got to work. A lot of people lost their jobs during the pandemic, right? A lot of people lost their jobs. They still got to work, and they got to preach to us, much like Hollywood did. So they don't get off the hook so easily. I might enjoy them on screen, sure, but they don't get off the hook. All right? And you might be wondering, why do I still bother? Well, because I'm a wrestling fan. I've always been a wrestling fan. I'm addicted to pro wrestling. I even tried to go train at Booker T's, Reality of Wrestling a couple years ago. They were very nice to me. They were very nice to me over there. And, I don't know if they'll ever treat me the same way. Now, with things like my channel and whatever else, my opinions or whatever, and that's fine. That's totally fine. But I have a passion for pro wrestling, and I'm going to feel free to talk about it, And with the return of CM Punk happening, back on that subject, by the way, I believe Triple H is a better leader than Tony Khan. And if Triple H is like, hey, bottom line, we're going to focus on the bottom line, the paying customer, the fans, I want you to please them. Don't please us, please them. If you can. Triple H will hopefully whip CM Punk into shape. And chances are, if CM Punk continues doing what he's done in AEW, then this will be a lesson well learned for Triple H. It was a nice little risky move, but it'd be a lesson well learned. And so I'm curious to see how it's actually going to go in the future. But CM Punk has to earn my respect again. He has to earn my respect before I can be excited for him. A couple years ago, I would have been excited to see him. And now I'm just like, okay, I understand that WWE's got some big balls now, but they just let a cancer into their locker room. And so we're going to see how it goes. I'm just reporting that CM Punk has returned to WWE after a 9-year absence from the company. Something I thought I would never see in my lifetime happen. We got somebody in the chat, James in the chat. Triple H has become Tony Khan. Not really. I mean, if you want to say that he became Tony Khan because he was purchasing everything, it's because they were all jumping ship from AEW. It doesn't mean he's becoming Tony Khan, because Tony Khan's a child. Tony Khan's a mark. He's not a good booker. And Triple H is a pro wrestler. Triple H is a pro wrestler who knows how to run a business, who's inherited one of the biggest wrestling company, the biggest wrestling company in the world, in my opinion, the biggest. So I think Triple H knows what he's doing, and maybe there's a chance that Triple H can whip CM Punk into shape and not be an SJW on live TV and try to preach to everybody. So I think I have a little bit of faith in Triple H, but if this goes wrong, it's a lesson well learned. As for CM Punk, he has to earn my respect again. He can't just show up to a different company and expect me to be a fan of him again. I was just like, oh, yeah, I'm surprised they allowed this guy into the locker room. It's like allowing a snake to bite you. James again says, trying to turn Survivor Series into his NXT indie bullshit. Are you sure? Are you sure? Because Survivor Series a couple years ago, I couldn't stand to watch it. I didn't watch it last year, and I heard it was good. But a couple of years before that, I couldn't stand it. And you could say NXT indie bullshit all you want, but like, what's AEW then? You know, turning it into NXT indie bullshit would be like turning it into AEW. What's the fucking point, right? It's a weird take, dude. But hey, if you don't like Triple H, that's cool. You know, don't like WWE. I totally understand. I was one of those guys who didn't like WWE a while back either because I was not impressed. But I'm hard pressed not to watch any of it these days, just off of principle for the wrestlers that probably hate me for showing off my guns in this nice little tee. So, yeah. Whenever fans like me who can wear this and not be chastised for wearing this get to, or even wrestlers like me who, or wrestlers who think like me and have this kind of stuff can sleep well knowing that their coworkers don't hate them, then, maybe I'll have more respect for them. But ultimately, your paying customer is the bottom line. Your paying customer is the bottom line, regardless of political beliefs. And you should stop trying to preach to them because they'll walk away. They'll walk away. Yeah, CM Punk was a big part of that. A lot of people want to deny that CM Punk's politics had anything to do with his attitude. It absolutely has anything to do with his attitude because the attitude of an SJW is conflating an ego. All right. It's like, give me everything and let me be the star. CM Punk's ego might be unique to CM Punk for sure, but it's not unique to all SJWs. So you can make the argument about that all you want, but dude was going around holding, trans lives matters. You can believe all of that on your own time. When you're on TV, you're there to entertain the fans. You're there to entertain the fans. That's what matters. I didn't wear this shirt to piss anybody off. I wore this shirt out of convenience. I just had it on before I threw on a live stream. I wasn't intending to wear it. Not wearing it to intentionally piss anybody off. All right? It just so happens that I was wearing it. But if you feel pissed off about it, that's cool. I totally understand why. But at the end of the day, how can you be mad at me and say that I'm wrong for wearing a t-shirt while CM Punk gets jobs left and right? So that is an argument that can be made, spread out all over this channel, in the future for sure. But it's getting kind of late. I've been on this live stream for almost 30 minutes. So not a lot of people in the chat tonight. I know it's late, but CM Punk is back, everybody. CM Punk has returned to WWE. What will this mean for WWE in the future? I don't know. I'll stay in touch with WWE. I'll keep watching. I'm willing to be optimistic about the future of CM Punk in WWE, but he has to earn my respect. He has to earn my respect as a fan, once again, in order for me to care, in order for me to pay money, in order for me to give a shit at the end of the day. So y'all have a good night. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one. Subscribe to Isaac of the Dead. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me at Instagram, wherever else. So, peace out.